That's interesting. The first round of making this video didn't work, so I'm going to try it again. Hi, I'm Steve Moraco. I make 3 of these videos a day. This is one of them. And in this video, I'm going to talk about doing work that is worthwhile and rant a little bit about things like TED and about blog post I just put up about TED.com and TED.com, the TED conference, and some other things related to elitism and doing important work and making meaningful change in the world, and it's going to be a fun rant, so stay tuned. I'll be doing this video in a room that I've never made a video in before. There's a guest bed, and then there's a picture of me holding a telephone as a 2-year-old, a cactus, and our back porch. Seems like the right place to make a video, right? I would say so. Because then, if at any point during this video you get bored with my face, you can look at 2-year-old me who is so excited to be holding a telephone. Just like so excited. But let's do it with the front-facing camera, shall we? Yes, let's. Okay, so I'm going to TED for the first time this summer, as you know, because I applied for kicks and giggles and then I got accepted, which I did not expect, but that happened, so now I'm just essentially trying to deal with it. And to raise the money to do that in a week or two, in a couple days. Honestly, like, I don't know how it's all going to come together, but I know that it has to, so it will. And I also just spent 3 weeks in California trying to network and, like, get to know people and that sort of thing. So, networking and lots of things about TED have been on my mind recently. TED often gets critiqued for being elitist because people who are wealthy or powerful or important in the eyes of US media often get featured as speakers. And anyone who speaks for TED ends up on like the giving talks circuit at like every business in the US that hires speakers for their employees. So it's a very like highfalutin, like, we think we're the most interesting people in the world sort of organization. And in fact, in one video very early on in 2002, when Chris Anderson first bought TED, he literally says in the video, our network is so huge that we have access to literally anyone who is interesting in the entire world. As if he presumes that the people he knows who are in the room there in the conference actually know everyone in the world who's doing interesting work. And the chances of that, one, it's improbable statistically. 2, makes you an ass even saying that. 3, it's not true. There are people who are interesting that TED knows nothing about, who are doing interesting, meaningful, important work. So to say something like that invalidates many people's hard, important work. And it's just a mean thing to say. Also very presumptuous, and also tells a lot about the sort of mind that built TED. So that has been floating around in my mind while I think about going to the TED conference for the first time, because in doing so I'm endorsing and paying for a lot of what they do. Now don't get me wrong, TED has been a very beneficial force in my life. The fact that they release free talks has been eye-opening for me, and things that TEDsters have said have influenced the way I go about my life and prioritize things. And I mean, honestly, it's been one of the coolest resources for me to improve my worldview and my awareness of the world around me over the course of the last, like, 10 years almost. They've been posting videos. So, I mean, I'm indebted, obviously, to TED, but like any organization, there are problems and there are things they could improve. So I've been thinking a lot about that. Then also, okay, we're still recording. We're still good to go. I'm going to start and stop this so we make sure that saves. I'm glad I did that because the clip that I made immediately after this did not save, which is a bummer because this was a really good, like, well wrapped up 7-minute video. Anyway, so the point that I just made that didn't save, and now I'm recording with the front facing camera so it doesn't take up as much room, is that so the second thing that's on my mind is that I just spent the last 3 weeks networking, and it's become extremely obvious to me that the tech world is not a meritocracy like it advertises, and that if you don't happen to be the offspring of, or the spouse of, or some way related to, or already in the tech world, it's very hard to build your network unless you have an express purpose to. Now, the reason I'm interested in building my network is because I know that I will need to leverage personal connections in 5 to 10 years to build things that I'm interested in, tech product-wise. Right now I'm in education and photography, but I know that I'm going to need to move into the tech world over the course of the next 5 to 10 years professionally. I'm interested in doing that, but like if I want to, you know, venture capitalists or journalists in the tech world or whatever, it would be good to already know those people, and there are people with familial connections in that world that could get into tech at any moment just because they want to and they already have those connections. But there is no structure for doing that unless you're already involved in some other way, right? So my complaint is that if I was building a company, then it would make sense to meet these people and network and make these connections. But because I'm not, it feels like I'm just wasting time or wasting other people's time right now because there's no express purpose for the stuff that I'm doing. However, there should be a way to do pointless networking and build relationships with people and just be friendly that doesn't feel like wasting people's time, and it'd be great if there were a product to solve that problem. That would help the tech world be more genuinely meritocratic, more genuine meritocracy. Anyway, I think that that's important because the tech world prides itself about being fair and open, and like anybody can change the world. And Silicon Valley is a very closed echo chamber, and those two facts don't coexist well. So yeah, those are my thoughts about TED and about networking in the tech world, and I did that in 2 minutes instead of 4 minutes this time around. That is the re-recorded clip. Thank you for listening to my rant. Those are some thoughts. I hope they're interesting or relevant or helpful for you. I know that those are things that I'm going to be thinking about for a couple more years here in my life. And I'm happy to have documented what the like on the ground process of dealing with those things look like. Like you saw me in San Francisco, and you saw me in LA, and you saw things going well, and you saw things going not so well. Like the one really good thing that happened in San Francisco was meeting Ian and having lunch with him at LinkedIn headquarters, and then the rest of it was all sort of like bleh. Like it was cool, I guess, but like I didn't really meet anyone, and there's no real easy way to do that unless you're already in those circles. So finding a way to break in without feeling like I'm wasting people's time or being unnecessarily selfish or sleazy or networky, or it's just a tricky time. Anyway, I think things like that, inequities and that sort of thing, are good to be aware of, especially because we live in a world now that prides itself on being, the world is flat. Anyone can change the world, when that is not the case. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this. Feel free to click like or subscribe, or, the usual things. Check out a few other videos. Don't always rant like this. Sometimes I go on adventures. Sometimes I see friends. I hope you guys like these rant videos. What do you think? Leave a comment. Let me know. Yeah. Okay. Those are my thoughts. Bye now.